Today on Money Matters, gold has long been seen as a hedge against an economic downturn. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, gold is the best performing traditional asset, not just in Malaysia, but in the world. On Money Matters today, we will find out if gold is glittering enough to invest. Good evening. Welcome to another episode on Money Matters. I'm your host, Zahir Kelvinong Abdullah. With me in the studio today to help us understand the gold market today is Habib Jewels, Group Executive Chairman. Welcome to the show. That is Meer Sadik. Habib.
Thank you, Kelvin.
23 years ago, we interviewed you on Money Matters. Not sure if you remember that. But gold prices have gone up tremendously since then.
Yes, I remember very much 23 years ago, the gold price was like 10 times less. That means it was less than 30 ringgit a gram. I remember it was like around 29 ringgit, 28 ringgit per gram. And today the retail price has gone up to like 290 ringgit a gram. So that's like almost 10 times more in just 23 years.
Right. So looking at it now, obviously because of the COVID-19 pandemic, why do you think there's this interest currently in people buying gold?
Calvin, there's been a lot of interest in gold, and we can see, especially in Malaysia, it's also a tradition for people to buy gold, not just as adornment, as well as investment. And it has been our culture, you know, like a long time ago when our grandparents and grandpa have more money, he will give it to grandma, and grandma will save and buy gold. And then, you know, when they need money, they come back and sell the gold. So this has been our tradition and culture from a long time ago. And today we can see there's a lot more interest because the element of investment has become very, very important. Because last year itself, the gold price has gone up by 18%. Due to uncertainties as well as the trade war between China and US. So this year we can see the trend was the same. Due to the pandemic, you can see that gold has always been looked at as a hedge against inflation. And with all the debts that's been created by countries all over the world, like for example, you can see there's a printing of more money in US, which creates inflation. So therefore, there's this, people find that gold is a very good instrument against inflation, as well as people look at it as a safe haven, because there's still a lot of uncertainties that were going on, not just in Malaysia. And I would say this is the first time that we have experienced this. You know, I mean, our business, we've been running for more than 60 years. And then this is the first time during the MCO, all our shops were closed for, you know, nearly 2 months, 1.5 months. So this is something that's unprecedented. And during a time like this, a lot of people look at gold. The other thing is also, the interest rates are also much lower. So the returns on investment is not that great when people are putting their money in the bank, and also the value of the currencies are going down. So this is the main reason why everyone is turning towards gold as an investment.
But some serious investors in the past have also viewed gold as an asset that for most part just sits there yielding almost nothing. So why the change in sentiment now?
Okay, even Warren Buffett himself, he was one of the big critics. You know, he used to say that gold is, you just buy gold and you just keep it there. It's not productive. And then he also have said that the gold, you know, you dig gold from the ground, and then you dig again and put it underground, and you have security people watching over it. And then there's really no return. But recently you can see that Warren Buffett himself have sold some of his shares in some of the banks, and he has invested in gold stock. He has put in about some 590 million US into Barrick Gold, and we can already see there is a big change, and I guess what it says is also the confidence towards the currencies. Maybe, you know, and right now there's so much confidence on gold. So again, as we know, that it has been a great hedge against inflation. Just like what we said, you know, in 23 years in Malaysia, it has gone up like 10 times.
Yeah. Okay, hold that thought. When we come back, I'm going to ask you whether gold is better than cash. We're going for a short break right now. In the meantime, connect with us on Twitter. Let us know what you think of the discussion so far. Before that, we also spoke to Bank Islam's chief economist, Mohd Afzanizam Abdul Rashid, on the different forms of gold the public can invest in. This is what he has to say.
Whether to invest in jewelry or to invest in gold bar, I think it really depends on one tendency, or rather their own experience. If you look at the demand profile for gold globally, jewelry command the lion's share. So that by default shows that the preference is actually towards jewelry. But more importantly, I think is the authenticity of the gold. So therefore, the last thing that we need is to face any fraud cases with respect to gold investment. So in that sense, we need to be very careful in terms of the gold, the quality of it, the authenticity of the gold, so that whenever one would want to, you know, to offload, to sell off their gold holdings, the authenticity will never be questioned, and therefore there's always a ready demand for that particular gold bar or gold jewelry. So one would need to be very careful in terms of the authenticity of the gold itself.
Welcome back to Money Matters. If you have just joined us, we're speaking to Habib Jewels Group Executive Chairman, Datuk Seri Meer Sadik Habib, on the gold market and investments. Datuk Seri, again, just before we left, I was going to ask you whether, so is gold better than cash? Because like we mentioned just now, in uncertain times, people turn to gold as a safe haven in order to maintain the value of their money.
Yes, Calvin, when I was a little boy, I remember when the boat people from Vietnam used to come, and that's when I really saw the value of gold. So a lot of people take gold not just as investment, also a value that can be transported during uncertain times. And the other thing is also, you know, if you really look at it, you know, during the time of prophet, about 1,400 years ago, if you were to buy a goat, right, it used to be 1 dinar. You pay 1 dinar, you get 1 goat. And today, recently we had Hari Raya Haji and all that. So 1 dinar is about 4.25 gram. So it's about 1,300 ringgit, 200 ringgit. So you can still buy a goat for that price. So you can see that the gold has maintained its value for thousands of years. So that is one of the reasons why people keep gold instead of just cash, like what we have always said. You know, I mean, like even when I was young boy, roti canai was about 10 cents or 20 cents. Now it's about 1 ringgit plus. You know? Yeah. So you can't buy much with 10 cents. But gold has always maintained its value.
Right. Now, you talked about savings and cash as well, but isn't buying gold, after keeping it, wouldn't the price be more speculative? Because if you keep your money in a bank, you would get monthly interest.
Yeah, that's right.
So why would you say that gold be a better investment?
Okay, I think it is a long-term view that you have to see, because gold has always been, you know, you can, like what we were talking earlier, the price has always gone up. But the other thing that we have is when you buy gold, if you need cash, you can also sell. So if you can see the value increase is a lot more usually from a long-term perspective than the interest itself, you know. And at the same time, gold itself is very liquid, you know. So anytime you need money, you can actually sell it, or you can pawn it. Even we as a group, we have this Islamic pawn shop. If someone needs temporary cash, you know, for cash flow, they can also pawn it and then use the cash and then come back and redeem it, you know. So in that sense, yes, it is not bringing in interest, but the value that is going up is usually a lot more.
Okay. Now, for Malaysia, would the gold bubble basically correct itself and be at the price where it will not move much, because we've seen unprecedented prices of gold?
Yeah, that's right. I think this year itself, we have seen gold price moving some 37%, you know, and I think it went up without any stop, you know, so it had to have a correction. So it came down about 10%. I think that is quite healthy, and then it's on the way up again. So this is something that we see. But most of the analysts, they still predict that the gold price will still go up.
Right. So are you saying that the gold prices can extend its record-breaking run despite some people, can I use the word profit-taking, basically?
Yes, there's been some profit-taking, but if you really look at it, in 2011, the gold price was already at the level of what we have now. So right now, the gold price is about $1,930 US, and that's what it was like in 2011. So if you really look at it, it's just not gone up that much. It came down a little bit and it's on the way up again. So in that sense, yes, the prediction is, the forecast is the gold price to go up.
Right.
And also secondly, I think there has been a lot of debt has been created with printing of more money and bonds and all that by not just US but many countries in the world. So with a lot of borrowings, that creates inflation. So with a situation like that, usually gold price has always been up.
Right. Okay. That is, we've got to go for another very quick commercial break. Find us on Twitter and let us know what you think about the gold investments. Meanwhile, we also asked Bank Islam's chief economist, Mohd Afzanizam Abdul Rashid, about whether it is safe to invest in gold.
So, of course, gold is deemed as the safe haven an instrument or a safe haven commodities at times when there's huge uncertainties in the economy, in the markets, and therefore it makes an investment in a gold would be very compelling. But the thing is, the key important thing about gold investment is always about the entry points and the exit points, and also the holding power for every individuals or for every investors, and how they see things will evolve going forward. At the moment, yes, the pandemic issues has been crippling in terms of global demand, and therefore the risk of more become so prevalent. So in that sense, the safe haven instruments that would include gold would come into the picture. But nevertheless, because the policy stimulus coming from the fiscal policies, coming from the central banks, at some point in the future, things could turn around for the better, and therefore we could see some corrections in terms of the gold prices. So, but over the long run, the gold prices tend to go up.
Welcome back to Money Matters. Datuk Seri, you talked about the inflation as well just now. So basically, for gold prices to keep rallying, would expectations of inflation have to keep rising?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. But you can see that I think fiscal policies, as mentioned by the chief economist earlier, today if you look at the situation, most countries would like to stimulate the economy, and then we don't think that the interest rate is going to go up for a while. So that's one of the reasons that we see the inflation rate still going up. So in that sense, I think the gold has got a good reason for it to go up. And of course, there are also other reasons. I mean, like there's always a lot more demand for gold compared to the supply. Is also a very limited supply that we have in gold. And gold has always have that the tradition and culture in many countries all over the world. And like if you would really look at Malaysia, men on the street, or maybe more so women on the street, they're very well aware of the gold, and it is part of our culture, and there is still a very high demand for gold.
Right. What would be the best form of gold to buy in terms of, you know, do you advise people to buy like gold wafers or jewelry instead? And then what would be easier for them to basically sell off or liquidate later?
Okay. I think the easiest form of buying and selling gold is the gold bars, you know. But at the same time in Malaysia, a lot of people would like to buy the gold jewelry as well. And like for example, right now, what we do is we have old jewelries that we have manufactured some time ago where the cost is quite low. So we are willing to sell at a much lower price for the jewelry, whereby the margins are not very high. So it's still a good price to buy, as good as the gold bar. Because when you sell it, doesn't matter if it's a gold bar, it's like 999 gold. So we would calculate based on the 999 gold price. And usually gold is too soft to be made into jewelry, so we have to make in 22 karat gold, which means it's 91.6%. So it is still the same value based on 91.6%. The rate is still the same. So in that sense, as investment is still the same. And in Malaysia, as was mentioned by the economist earlier, people prefer to buy jewelry because one thing is they can wear it as adornment, and the second reason is also some people think that, especially Muslims, that you have to pay zakat if you buy gold bar and keep. And if you have a jewelry for personal use, then it doesn't attract. You don't have to pay zakat. So that's one of the reasons in Malaysia that people still prefer to buy jewelry as investment.
Okay, now looking at what you've mentioned about people buying jewelry and the advice of buying gold in its physical form, some banks in Malaysia have offered gold investment accounts. Now, these investment accounts allow the customers basically to buy and sell gold at the bank's set price without having any gold in its physical form. Do you think that this is a better way of buying and selling gold very quickly instead of holding on to the physical gold?
Yeah, so I think the ETF gold is sold all over the world, and some people like to invest in that. But lately, I can also see that the physical gold is something that people prefer to keep in terms of confidence and all that. And some ETF may not even be backed with physical gold. So in that sense, this is one experience. For example, during the pre-1971, even countries like US had a lot of gold reserves. So all the currencies was backed with a promissory note from the government. So when countries start to claim back the gold, and then there was not enough. So it is quite normal for people to have more ETF gold instead of having the physical gold to match, you know. So for that reason, a lot of people still like to keep physical gold.
Right. Just for the benefit of our viewers, ETFs that Datuk Seri is referring to is the exchange traded funds.
Yes,
now,
that's right.
with regards to having the physical gold, of course, the problem would be safekeeping.
Yes.
So after buying it, how would you advise people basically to keep it?
So like a lot of our customers who buy gold as investment, they have their own places to keep, like safe and also safety deposit boxes in the bank. And on our side, we can also help our customers keep the gold bars.
Would this be covered by insurance as well, or do they have to buy their own insurance, or if they keep it with you?
Yeah, for us, this is just a favor that we do for our customers, our regular customers especially. So we will get the insurance for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the situation around the world, of course, the stock markets are very volatile at that matter. So do you think gold will hold its value if stock markets were to tumble?
Yes, I think that is one of the things that people are looking at because we can see the stock market is quite volatile, especially in US. You can see that what's happening in the high street, some people are saying, it's not the same as the stock market because the businesses are not improving that much. And usually on the street, and then it actually reflects the stock market. But the stock market sometimes, because of a very high speculation, the prices can go up.
So now, with prices currently being where it is, should we buy gold now or wait for a correction?
Okay, that's $1 million question.
Yes.
I think the correction is already here now. So I think we can still buy gold. This is what most analysts are talking about. Like, for example, Bank of America or Citibank and all that. They are talking about $2,500 US or $3,000. This is the kind of what analysts are looking at. But one have to take a long-term view. You know, I mean, you can't make the last dollar, but there's always a possibilities of gold price going down a little bit. But if you really look at the long term, I think it is still a good time to buy right now.
Right. Datuk Sri, thank you very much for your invaluable insights on the gold market. Thank you for being on the program.
My pleasure, Kelvin.
Meanwhile, in other news, Shell Malaysia is opening its doors to help local small and medium enterprises, SMEs, market their products through Shell Select stores nationwide. Take a look at this. The Realisasi Impianmu Bersama Shell initiative creates a platform for aspiring entrepreneurs to scale up their businesses and be part of Shell's supply chain. And 3 lucky SMEs stand a chance to receive private label contracts with Shell Select. For the past 129 years, Shell has always strived to serve Malaysians better. The company's workforce are mainly Malaysians, and it engages with local companies across its supply chain. Shell Malaysia Trading Sendirian Berhad and Shell Timor Sendirian Berhad Managing Director Shairan Huzaini Hussein said their Delhi to go products are all sourced by local suppliers.
We in Shell have an opportunity to give amazing possibilities to Malaysian entrepreneurs because we can help them overcome those challenges, including how to improve their packaging and marketing. And on the logistic bit, guess what? We have already got the logistic arrangement for our Shell stations, so we can include their product into the list of items that we carry.
30 SMEs will get the opportunity to promote their products at national, regional or specific Shell retail stations. Apart from helping local SMEs, Shell will also be able to offer diverse locally produced products at their stores.
This is the time we Malaysians rise to the occasion, that we work together to assist one another, and we'll assist one another in different ways. And this is our humble way at Shell to show other Malaysians that we are Malaysians too.
To participate, the SMEs must have a registered business with a valid registration number and able to offer products such as snacks, non-alcoholic beverages, confectionery and ready-to-eat meals, as well as production capabilities to meet the demand of supplying to Shell Select stores. Interested SMEs can submit their entries via Shell's website from now until September 11, 2020. And the general public will be able to vote for their favorite products that they want to see on 630 select stores' shelves across Malaysia. Before we go, let us know your comments about today's discussion. What is your view on gold investment amid the COVID-19 pandemic, and what is the best form of gold to invest in? Find us on Twitter and let us know, and we'll be back next week with more money insights that matter. Till then, I'm Zahir Kelvin Ong Abdullah. Stay safe.